About a year ago, I went to this house party slash concert in New Brunswick. I was invited from my friend who's in the band. She's a great artist. And one of the people who were on stage performing wasn't a musician, but actually a poet. And his name is Damian, and he was really good. I was really engaged. Afterwards, when he got off stage, a few minutes passed, and he was smoking a cigarette in the backyard, and I had to go back there, and I wanted to talk to him. I thought he was really good, and so I gave him my business card, and I told him like, hey man, I'm a filmmaker. I would love to interview you and know about like your craft and how you got started and all that. And he was like, yeah, of course, yeah, I'm totally down for that. You seem really cool. And so we started talking. And just a week ago, we got in touch again, and we scheduled to do an interview on Zoom. And I think he's a really awesome guy. I think he's very, very talented, and I really think you should listen to what he has to say. So I like to introduce you to Damien the poet.
So, how many shows do you have currently right now?
In some weird, twisted way, I currently host four shows, four bi-weekly shows. I host Puff Puff Poems in Red Bank. That's at the Weed Smoking Lounge Scholar Reserve Room. I host Nip and Tuck. I host Bars Off Broadway at Nip and Tuck. And also, I with a co-host Angelo Gingerelli, I host Poems and Punchlines. And then in Matawan at Brew Coffee Shop, I host Poetry in the Port. So right now I'm rocking four bi-weekly open mics.
That's really cool. How, what made you think about like, oh, I need a place to like do this? Like, how did you get into?
Well, I've been doing this, so I've always been in performing arts and stuff. Like I was in a bunch of like really bad punk bands when I was younger. And like then when I got into poetry, I got involved in like 2013 and there was an open mic scene going on, but like it was quiet, it was tame, it was all the things about poetry that I find drives away the everyman. So me and my buddy looked at each other and we're like, hey, we're gonna do this differently. And I hosted a bunch of stuff with my buddy in 2015 and 16 and 17. And he had a show in Asbury and I had the show Poetry in the Port in Keyport. And it was great. But I went to an arts residency out of Missouri. And when I came back during the pandemic, so when I came back, nothing was going on. The pandemic was like raging. But as 2021 started, there was still nothing going on. You know, there was no community. It was just Zoom shows. So I was looking for something and I said, you know what? Let me try this out. I had a bunch of venues hit me up. And I said, surely all these venues who want me to host something, only one of them's going to like have anybody show up.
Yeah.
The rest of them, you know, they're probably no one's going to show up and I'll just forget they ever happened. And that's not what happened. So now I'm hosting these shows and it's been like it's a lot, you know, but I love it. And I love that I could offer community and we have like a real movement, it feels like going on. So it definitely is rewarding.
Okay. I just want to, you mentioned you were in a band. What did you do in that band?
Oh Lord. So I was I was in a bunch of bands. Like when I was younger, I was a screaming guy, like screamo. And then I was a singer and I used to pretend to play the bass because
Okay.
our bassist quit and we didn't have a bass player. We're like, we can't play without a bass player.
Yeah.
So I would just wear the bass and we turn the volume all the way down on the amp and I just strum and like act like I was playing bass guitar. You know, like
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like 16 and I remember our first show, dude, we're like rocking it and all I hear is, I can't hear the bass. And I'm like, yes, you can.
What made you change to poetry? Like what was it like a single moment you were like poetry, that's it.
Yeah, kind of. So like, you know, bands break up. Somebody's got a girlfriend who doesn't like the other girlfriends. Somebody has a job. Someone isn't as dedicated. You know, it's hard to get several people together regularly to practice and do shows and all those things, especially when you're young. But I was in a crazy car accident when I was like 22. In 2015, I got hit by a car on my way to work, and it was like really bad. And I like broke my legs, cracked my head open, the whole thing, and I lost my apartment, my job, my girlfriend. I could have started wrote a country music song. That's how bad it was. And I just had this moment when that happened, and I realized I wasn't dying. That like, I've always been a writer since day one. Since I learned how to read, I could write. And I just had this moment where I felt like this is my time, this is what I'm going to do. This is who I am. And like, the thing is this, like, there's no circuit for poetry. If you become a musician, you do this, and then you do this, and then you do that, and then you do that. And when you're a comedian, you do this, you do that, you do that. But still, with poetry, I was like, you know what, man? I want to build the circuit. Like, there's nothing there. I want to build it myself. And so back when I was like in the mid 2010s, we really thought we were killing it out here. And then I left to go to an arts residency. And when I came back, then now all this is going on, and things are bigger than ever and crazier than ever. And people are going wild. And, we're having wild attendance and for poetry, which is nuts. And so I'm just living in the moment, man, just trying to put things together and having fun while I'm doing it.
Yeah, dude, that's really cool. I don't know if I told you this, but I'm 22. So like,
oh yeah.
like for me to be in a car accident right now and like have all those injuries, I don't know what I would do. Like, I'm trying to make it as a filmmaker. I couldn't go out and make films. So how, like, were you in a wheelchair or
Yeah, so what happened was that when I got hit, I had a basement apartment at the time. I was proud of myself. I was 21, 22. I had a basement apartment. I had a full-time job. I was living. I was newly single for the first time in a long time, and I was just living, having a blast. And I would write poems at night, despite the debauchery that was my life. And I lost it all because of the accident. I had to go to my grandma's house, and I'm a big guy. And they said, like, hey, like, you ain't gonna be walking probably for a couple of years.
Wow.
That didn't work for me. And I didn't believe, I never have. I don't, I believe in rules. I just don't believe rules pertain to me, which is why I don't really do it with authority. So I was like, what? And they wanted me to pay for physical therapy until I got reimbursed from a lawsuit. So I was like, not going to happen. So I'd wait for my grandma to go to sleep at night, and I'd take her walker, and I would walk around the trailer park where she lives, and for hours, and I would drag myself, dude, and I would force myself, and like my buddies would come home from the bar, and I'd be like covered in blood, like laying on the side of the road with the walker. They'd be like, Damian, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm all right. And I taught myself how to walk again in like a month and a half, from pure force of will.
It took you a month and a half, and they said it might take years.
Yeah, and I never did physical therapy once.
That's incredible. That's a story everyone needs to hear. Like,
I'll probably pay for it at some time in the future, but I don't think that far ahead,
Yeah, I mean, you're good for now, so
yeah. The legs are working now, bro, so we're good.
Where do you want to go in the future? Like, like for poetry and venues, like how, like, what's your dream, your ultimate goal for this?
So before I answer that, I'm going to start with an anecdote. There's a great interview from back in the day with Jimi Hendrix. Not comparing myself to Jimi Hendrix though, but they asked Jimi Hendrix, what do you want to do in the future? And he says, I want to be able to roll out of bed into a waterfall, okay? And float around in this waterfall and then be able to climb back out. And that's how I start my day. And so like, oh, so you want to be filthy rich? And he said, no, I was thinking about just setting up a tent down by the river, so in that vein, when I was younger, I used to dream a lot when I was your age, okay? and I used to fill my brain up with all these ambitions and ideas. And the problem when you do that is that you get the serotonin hit before you ever act, right? So in your brain, you're like, I'm the number one filmmaker, Steven Spielberg calling me on the phone.
Yeah.
And you feel good about that, but you're just sitting home on the couch. So that's how I was for a long time. So right now, what I'd like to do is, of course, I'd love to spend my life dealing with the arts and being involved and hosting and providing space. And, you know, I move a certain way. And like, there's certain things like right now we call it the New Jersey Poetry Renaissance. Okay. What that is a rebirth. It's a rebirth of New Jersey as a whole. It's a cultural movement. Okay. It's a working class movement, right? We're like, listen, we're not anti nobody, but the academics have their nice quiet readings, right? The
Right.
rich kids over here have their things. We're over here, we're garbage men, we're meat cutters, waiters and servers and buskers, and we're here right now. The world's ending, everything's going bad. But right now, right in this split moment, we're together and we're singing these working class blue collar bar songs and we're alive. And that's, I would like to in the future, of course, everyone does not have to work the kind of job I work now, you know, where I don't mind it and I've made a balance in my life. But as for now, I just want to keep doing what I'm doing and I want to uh, keep providing space. And my big thing right now is I'm teaching the youth, you know. People are saying, wow, why do you need so much attention? Why are you hosting so many shows? I don't want to be, you know.
Mhm.
But if there's no one to do it,
Right.
why not me? Right. And so right now what I'm doing is I'm taking the youth and I'm trying to say, hey man, you want to learn how to host? Let me throw you a guest host spot. You want to do this? Let me show you how to do this. So I'm really investing a lot of time into the younger folks out there, the 22, 23, 24-year olds, the young kids, and showing them like, hey man, this is how I do it. And because when I came on the scene when I was your age, no one did that for me.
Wow.
It took a long time and I had to learn this on my own, you know? So I'm trying to break that thing and just keep it rocking, you know? And plus, you know, I got a lot of stuff going on the road and I'm writing books and stuff, but my big thing right now is community and what's going on out here. That's my main focus as of late.
Okay. I think me and you are similar in the way that we're like artists. Like art like
Yeah.
artists is like number one thing. But then because of like society, we also have to be businessmen, you know? We also have to think about like making money. So it sucks because like, you know, I mean, I don't know for certain, but you know, you can't sell a poem for like $200 or something. You got to find a certain way to like get it out there.
Why not though?
What do you
You
mean?
know, everything has value if
Right.
someone will give it value. Okay.
Okay.
So there's a common there's a common thing that poetry makes no money. And that's because people don't think. They don't give it value. Okay. And I've heard commentaries on the poetry scene that it's the same old guys handing the same $5 bill back and forth to each other. Right.
Mhm.
And that's a wrong move. What I say is this: I've been fortunate enough in this game to make money. Now, I don't make money, like, I don't make enough money to live. Right.
Right.
But even right now, I'm hosting these shows. I'm just moving into monetization next month for one of the shows. But my point in saying that is that what we do, everything can have value. The thing is this though, authenticity is priceless. And if you're your authentic self and the art you make is authentic and it's real, it will gain a price tag. That might take a long time and it might take a lot of work,
Hmm.
you know, but I think it's worth it. And right now, I'm just starting to get to the point where I'm getting college gigs, right? Where
Wow, that's
colleges are contacting me to do a show and then a lecture, which I think is hilarious because I dropped out of community college, but they don't ask, you know?
yeah,
So there is, thing is this, art's undervalued because of the society we live in,
yeah,
but it doesn't have to be that way. And once like there's like this little like walk you take where of course 99% of the things I've done in this thing have been free, right? But I just, then you sell books and you do things and then you start getting a fee when you tour and you perform and they pass the hat. So there's a lot of ways to do it, but the walk is to not compromise on who you are to get that. And it might be a longer road, but I'd rather be myself the whole way through and not have to second guess who I should be in a situation.
that's yeah. In my case, as a filmmaker, um, I do like music videos. I've done 4 or 5 music videos for free, just for
Yeah,
friends. Partially for me to like practice to get better, but like
exactly.
I'm not, even though they're free, I'm not like making any money. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like I gotta sell what I can do. And I
But
think
you
that,
doing those free videos, now someone might see their music video and say, hey, man, I loved what you did with them.
right.
Yeah. What do you charge? And then you're going to be all sitting here and be like, well, whatever rate you say. And maybe you even start super cheap.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to see their music video. And the work you do for free, the work you do to learn the trade and to grow and to also network, that work is evergreen. That music video is always going to be on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think in your, like you look at these things are things that are you're planting seeds. And like all plants, it takes a long time to grow. But
Yeah.
even bad seeds grow in fertile soil. Like you can really, the more you do, the more it builds a structure. You know, it's the right way to do it. I host my shows are still going to remain free that I do.
Yeah.
Okay. Monetization with those kind of things comes between an arrangement between me and the venue owner. But I told all the venue owners, like, we're not even going to talk about money for the first 4 months. Okay.
What month are you in right now?
We're about to go into the 4th month. Right.
Oh, okay, great, great.
But like with the weed show, I'm still, so what I'm doing now is going to the next month is that the first show of every month, the first Tuesday, will be a free normal puff puff poems.
Right.
Free, totally, just like normal, right? But now instead of doing a second free show at the end of the month, I'm doing a new show there called Puff Puff Poems The Re-Up. And that's going to be a show with higher level performers. It's going to be a ticketed event. I'm going to have a DJ. I'm going to have acoustic. It's going to be a whole different vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be ticketed. And that money will go to the features. People get paid to perform at that show, right? And
Yeah.
then that's how you do it. So there's different ways I'm thinking, and it might not work. That's the thing. I feel pretty confident, but it could bomb, and that's something that I have to risk. You know,
Yeah.
I swing for home runs every chance that I get, bro. I barely
Bro,
hit the ball.
I definitely think you can do it because I went to the show. I mean, unfortunately, I only got to go to one, but I went
Yeah.
there and it was packed. It was a full house. So I definitely, and even if you charge only like $2-3, that's some money coming in.
The thing is this, right? What I tell people, the difference in the art forms is this: with comedy, okay,
Yeah.
there's a circuit, right?
Stand.
You spend any open mics, you go to a bringer shows, you go to a producer shows, you get this, and everybody wants to be that guy. But in poetry, especially out here in the Renaissance, we're working on a dream. We're building something together, right? And I mean that. Like, I hear people be like, "Well, I want to get paid," and I laugh because I've performed in front of five. I've performed, I've done 1,000 poetry shows, okay, across the country. And like, if I put up the paid thing, let me get paid for the show, I might have gotten paid more. I really might have, but I probably would have missed out on so many great experiences where I did this show for free, but then somebody bought my books, and then I met this person, and now I'm in a car with them driving in the middle of Kansas. And the thing is this, we're living on a thing where this is the vibe going forward. And if I could do anything to preserve and to increase the cultural momentum that's going on, I'm going to do it because I truly believe in what's going on with my core being. And if money comes, that's awesome. But either way, I'm having a damn good time.
That's really great. That's the best message ever.
You know, I've been doing the same stuff forever. Just who it's me. And if somebody thinks that I have the value and money comes in, that's going to be cool.
Mm-hmm.
But it's never going to be the compromise, the fork in the road, right?
Yeah.
You got to make that choice, and every artist does. You know, and I'd rather be the guy who's working bullshit jobs, but I'm fulfilled in my soul as an older man, than be the guy who's sold out, put on a face, and I'm rich as fuck. Part of my French, I don't know if I'm supposed to swear. And I'm rich and I'm empty.
Yeah.
Right? I'd rather be that guy with nothing, I'd rather be that old man at the end of the bar with nothing but a whole bunch of stories than be the guy in the penthouse that has nothing left to say, you know?
Mm-hmm. It's not good quality art if you're chasing the money. You're not doing it for the authenticity.
Yeah. You do it because it's who you are.
Exactly, yeah.
Because you can't not be you if you don't do it. You know?
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
That's all I had planned. Do you want to like say anything else?
Yeah, New Jersey Poetry Renaissance. We're doing it out here. I'll be first and third week. We're at Scarlet Reserve Room. That's in Red Bank, New Jersey. First and third Saturday, we're at Brew in Matawan for Poetry in the Port. And every Monday, we're at Nip and Tuck in Long Branch. Dude, I want to thank you so much for having me on. It's been a real pleasure. We'll have to link up in the future and do some cool stuff.
Definitely.
All right, man. Cool.